Welcome to Stemmer's Geographic. I'm your host, Professor Buck A. Neer. That's right, you heard me. Buck A. Neer. I spoke to a couple of your teachers. It was, let me see, a Mr. Hubler and a Mrs. Martine. Is that right? Hubler? Martine? Is that right? Anywho, they told me you could use a little brush up on your geography skills. That's right, you heard me. Geography skills. So we got ourselves a little video to help you out. So pay attention.
Alright, so we're going to look at this apple and call it the world. Mr. Huber is going to use this knife and show us how you can cut the world in half and create our hemispheres. Go ahead, Mr. Huber. Cut away. So now we have our two hemispheres. We have our eastern and western because Mr. Huber decided to cut it from north to south. The other choice was cutting it through the middle. That would have been the equator. Go ahead and show us the equator there, Mr. Huber. Here's your equator. It's cutting right through the middle, from west to east, giving us our northern and our southern hemispheres. Mr. Huber, did you have to eat the world?
Here's your equator. You have the equator cutting across east to west, creating your northern-southern hemispheres. Now you have your prime meridian going north to south, creating your eastern and western hemispheres. Together, you get north, south, east, and west. In the northeast, you have China. In the southeast, you have Australia. In the southwest, Latin America. In the northwest, the United States, inside the continent of North America.
Right now we're out on the football field, and you can see Mr. Huber way down on the far side. He is really far away compared to where I am right here. I'm at our goal line. He's at the far goal line.
Watch Mr. Huber. He's going to move closer and closer to me. That's relative location, where he is compared to me. A lot of the times we give out directions this way, where you are compared to something else. Say White Marsh Mall compared to where you are now, or where you are compared to school. It's the easiest way to give out directions.
And now he is way too close. John, have you ever heard of anything called personal space?
Here's another good example of relative location. You got Ben in the backfield. You got Terrell Suggs on the defensive line. They're pretty far apart right now, a good 7 to 10 yards. Now watch it carefully and you'll see them come together right there. So they started out far apart and then came together. That is relative location, where one person is compared to another. Here they are, a good distance separating them, now they're together. Terrell Suggs is on the defensive line, Big Ben is in the backfield. With that description, you think they're pretty far apart, but then you know, here they are together. Let's look at it just one more time, I promise. And there he goes. About absolute location. Let's talk about absolute location is where we are on a map. You look at the lines of latitude and longitude, one running east and west, one running north and south, just like you have the two roads here, Stemmers Run Road and Eastern Boulevard. One runs north and south, one runs east and west. It gives you an absolute location of where Mr. Huber is. Speaking of tracking Mr. Huber, let's think back to where he was on the football field. We're going to put a line down the middle, call it the equator, and then we have two other lines of latitude, lines A and B. Mr. Huber started back at the goal line, but then he moved from place to place. If we plotted it out on a grid like this, you would have seen exactly where he was moving, because it gave you a coordinate pair using latitude and longitude, until he ended up finally at the goal line along the equator. Finding absolute location isn't as hard as it once was. Now you have websites like itouchmap.com and Google Maps to really find anything you want, but you need to know latitude and longitude. For this experiment, you guys are going to use plus signs for northern latitudes and eastern longitudes, negative signs for southern latitudes and western longitudes. For example, what you're looking at here, positive 39 comma minus 76 is a coordinate pair. Now go to itouchmap.com and try it out.